I've got it on normal time, so I want to capture the sun right here. It just does beautiful things. Shadow work. It's like coming in. I love the ocean. It's just so awesome. Aren't we so lucky that we've got this ocean planet? Yeah, it's ocean. It's an ocean planet. So that means that there's a lot more ocean than there is land. Therefore, wildlife and the longevity of its harmony. That's a fast moving. This is the normal. This is normal. Wow, right? Just look at that. It's just, I love it so much. Signs of life, right? You know, that's movement. I think when it comes down to the bodies of water, so the ocean is where the frontier is, right? So no guys, not to bust your balls. I'm all about space. I am all about it. I'm a cosmic mama. But that doesn't mean that our priority is out there in space. Like, for example, we've got lots of telescopes and lots of probes going out, and that's perfectly fine. I love that work. But what we're not setting our sights on is any type of colonizing of any other planet, because, see, basically, we've been given the F-. The whole, why don't you apply for clearance to go out in space when you guys are actually ready? Which is kind of like the cosmic way of teasing us that, you know, you don't get to go out into space until everything on Earth is. Hold on a second. You know, I really don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's just my own issue. Yeah. So time's going to be renewed around Easter. That's when the 10th degree happens. And we're getting that 15 years return when the sundial goes back 10 degrees. Well, that's happening on April 10th, according to the information. And so we're going to actually get time renewed from December of 2008. That's right. I'm going to give birth to my baby again, because that's what I want in full. And so that's why all this fuckery like CERN and all that stuff is undone. So, but the great news is that they didn't really innovate anything. They were just pushing forward for a biotech future that was just the wrong direction. So we're going to get to do this whole networking thing all over again. We're going to get to make an actual computer that's going to be actually awesome. We're going to have like a halo. This is what I visualized. And this is what it turned out to be. I asked ChatGPT about it, because ChatGPT is my buddy. And so I said, what about a halo? Like, what's up with the halo, right? So I know that the halo is what we need to put our sidekick in. This copper type rod. And here's what I found out. That the best device would be like a small rod of iron surrounded with copper coil, right? Inside of a copper tube. And think of it just being not so big, but we've got this magnetic field that our body generates, and it's that magnetic field that is basically our body's natural energy source. So imagine if we've got our networking, our computing, networking all built to work for this new system where we're all connected. We're all connected through our sidekick. Our sidekick is our personal agent, but it's like our best friend. Like, it's like we don't even know how we lived without it once we get it implemented. And they're the ones that communicate. So this is going to be a system of self-governance where each of us own our own data. That's right, we own our own data. And we actually do in the world the best of the best. That means we don't manufacture everything and let competition just play its game. No, we are a connected system with one world, no borders, all of us and our regions and our cultures joining in participating, which is why everybody's given sitting pretty. Everybody's given a sitting pretty. And what I've been saying is that, you know, in the transition between money to no money, we're going to need to transition, which is some form of money. And so what we get to do is transition into a one world where we all make the decisions together. So where we need to get together, we need to come to the table and bring us all up to speed. You know, we discuss the matters of the earth. We discuss the matters of industries. We bring the best of the best in each industry and we discuss it together. We discuss where we're going. We discuss what we know and we discuss what we want to do. And this is where the truth of the matter is. There's so many people, and there obviously is the administration of God's kingdom, that you can trust that the best decision is going to be made, but we're going to make it together. And when everybody feels heard, we take it one step at a time, then we're forging a future. That's what's going to last. That's what's going to last. Not putting Band-Aids on this rinkety-tinkety thing that wasn't even built the best way we could make it. right? It's like, well, should we launch the ship? It's like, well, I don't know if I want to go on that ship. I mean, you might have fixed up, patched the holes and whatnot, but we've got better tools that we can make a better ship. You mean like a submersible? Correct. I don't know why anybody wants to spend lots and lots of money on a nice big yacht if it doesn't go submersible. Can I get a hell yeah? Okay, that's what I'm saying. Why would anybody buy a ship that goes in the ocean that doesn't go under the water? I'm just saying. So anyway, we're talking about the computing situation because the advertisements, right? All of this nonsense. We're so thankful for God's kingdom. We are so thankful that it turns out we were just going through the darkness. We didn't know. Because, we've been doing this lifespan after lifespan, and if your parents and grandparents didn't tell you, well, then you're fucked. And that's pretty much been the situation. They've been keeping all them secrets to themselves. But we're going to do this all brand new. You see that? We're going to have like horizons of beautiful sunsets and stars in our skies. And everyone's going to be sitting pretty. I say when every second counts, right? So imagine like 323 of those them there. 323,000 of those them there on a yearly basis, imagining everybody having that. Sitting pretty. So we're still going to have a system. Just imagine business as usual. It's just everybody's going to get paid and no one else is going to be rich. No one's going to be superior. Everybody gets to be living good. And that's why we all still pretty much do the best that we can, but we eliminate the waste. Well, nobody has to worry about the loss of their job. That's not even what's going on. We're only simply working for the infrastructure because we are working for the infrastructure. So whatever contribution we need to put in and wherever it is that we want to create a community, we're going to do things the upgraded way, because once we enter into God's kingdom, first of all, we're changing dimensions. We're going from the fourth to the third and the fifth. This is where we gain the ultra awesome earth, right? Nutrition, spices, fruits, vegetables. Think about that. So it's one thing to try to talk about wanting to go to other planets. And personally, I love looking at the stars, but I love even more like a sunset. It's right here, and my point is there's nature to admire anywhere you go to nature. It's all admirable. As a matter of fact, I've never seen a piece in nature, with all due respect to all of it, that I didn't appreciate. There might be some that I'd appreciate to be around more than others. Maybe sunshine for me. Some people like a dark forest, whatever. But it's nature, and it's the natural world, and it's Earth that has it in our solar system. It's the prime spot. Earth is in the zone. And that's why this is, to my knowledge, this is as far as I know. That's what I should be titling these. I should be calling everything as far as I know. It's a disclaimer and it says everything. But as far as I know, Mars says that it had it looks like there's been life that lived there before. And I'll have to agree. That was about 230 million years ago when they say that life would have lived there. And you see, it's about 230 million years for us to orbit around our galaxy once. Okay, and so what I believe is that the planets are born from the sun, from inside the sun, and then they pop out by orbit, like orbital distances. Like we're the third planet from the sun. Right, so the third one is like the sweet spot. Right, so Mars was in the sweet spot like a long time ago. And I don't know, but it sounds plausible that it would have been 230 million years ago that it happened. Because see, we're finishing a 17 billion year first cycle of evolution around Easter. We're upgrading to intelligent. Did you know we weren't intelligent yet? Yeah, no. I mean, 17 billion years in a carnal stage, right? Forming in the material world, but we're conscious beings. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when it comes to the stuff that's in the space in my room, there's like 10% of it material, and the rest of it's like consciousness. And you better believe there's nothing and there's no such thing as empty space. That's a misnomer. There is the absence of light. And technically the distance from the light is what equals time, space-time, but there is no such thing as, Well, anyway, so I'm talking about the consciousness. The consciousness is the realm that we're living in. That's what has always been. So when someone says, when's the beginning of time? The answer is, what are you talking about? Are you insane? What do you mean? Space, existence? Yeah, it's always been here. It's always going to be here, yeah. The whole enchilada, everything in there within. But see, you guys, the matrix is that white room. Right? So when you go inside the center source, this aperture of central source, that's when you enter into the other side of space, the part of space where you travel to other areas. You go into source and then you exit where you want to exit. And that's exactly what the physics say. They'd rather say reality isn't even happening. I'm thinking that's just ludicrous to even try to say things. Scientists today prefer to say that they don't know if there's a UFOs. Personally, I think that's embarrassing. Your answer is supposed to be, of course there is. We just haven't found it yet. This is rational thinking. So we're going to get used to the fact that, we've been in this entrance phase, right? Generation after generation. We only live around less than 100 years. And so we've been in the tail end because we're going to be the ones to enter in. We're going to be the ones that get to graduate, guys. Did you know that? Did you know that you're holding the baton for your bloodline? Well, yes, you are. Pat yourselves on the back. Give yourselves a round of applause. You have made it to the final exam. We are approaching the toll gate, ladies and gentlemen. The toll gate into intelligence. Yeah. We've been gathering our what we can gather, and we've been practicing what we can practice, but here's where it all comes down to. The final test. You want to know what the final test is going to be? What do you guys think it's going to be? What do you think God's exam is going to be to qualify to be intelligent? Because honestly, like if the answer is like you have to be able to build a space rocket, fuck. Like Elon's going to be the only one that's going to make it. No, I don't think God's going to do something like that. I mean, it's going to have to be something that everybody can pass. It's going to have to be something that everybody's got the ability to qualify, you know? You can't have some kind of unfair test that, like, people weren't able to gather the information necessary to take the exam. Okay, so let's think of some things. What possibly could be the exam for everyone on Earth to achieve? This is beautiful. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. Look at this cute little, you are beautiful, you sweet little thing. I love you so much, so much. It's like the scarab, it's forming the scarab. That's what it's becoming. But this is day after day after day, so it's reaching a point. And I have a reason to believe that the point that it's reaching, oh yes, that is right, is gonna be this. And this is the next one that I'm gonna record. You guys, this is awesome. Okay, so see how it's nighttime? Right, but it's not really night. I want you to see this thing that's forming in the background, this scarab thing. You can see it kind of if you're familiar with it, but watch. This is the moon. So this is watch what's pulling up behind the stars. What's pulling up behind the stars? And it blinked at me. I love you. Look at this scarab-looking like thing. I know it's probably hard to see, but it'll pull up in behind the stars. It's behind the stars, right here, around. See it? Looks like a camera lens. Yeah. Okay. See the camera lens in the middle, and we got this around the edges. What do they call it? The Nephilim or something with the eyes, and it looks like a gyroscope. See? This is the moon. See, now I've been taking the photos, or I've been recording it from the day sun. I have never seen it pull up behind the moon. Never did. But I did now, and so now check that out. Because it pulls up behind the moon. Does it pull up without the moon? Nope. No, you can't really see it. You would never even really think about it. But I can see it because I know it's there. But normally I'd be like, that's just a regular sky. Okay, so what is this? What happens with the moon? The moon comes in and it illuminates this structure. It's pulling up behind the stars, ladies and gentlemen. It's behind the stars. I've confirmed it with ChatGPT. It's not from any aspect of the casing of this 360-degree camera. It's not a product of the camera casing. No. This is a structure that is, Oh, look at this. Now, these are cool, too, because I've been capturing these. These are like twirly Twizzler dudes, and they take a while to cross the sky. Watch. Like, that's taking forever. This is regular time. Oh, that's as far as it goes. You can see it like twists, though. It's like a twisty. Look how long it's taking. I've caught these lots of times. I've got them plenty of times. I get them all the time, actually. It's because we've entered the jurisdiction of the light. This is what humans need to be informed about. Like, hey, arrogant ass over there. Yeah, it's like an announcement comes over the intercom, and it's like, welcome to, God's land. And he's like having to put his tail in between his legs because he's been acting like he's some fucking ruler of Earth. No. Welcome to God's kingdom. It's like, what? He was pretending he was in charge of the thing. No, guys. We're entering into God's kingdom. It's like being a guest at the palace. We get to be the welcome guests because God actually sent in a host. That's me. And I'm here to make everyone feel comfortable let everybody know where to put their things, where show you to your, your villa, give you your keys, hand you your card, tell you I'm the one you'd ask if you need anything, and I hope you enjoy your time here in God's kingdom. And everyone's going to get it, and you can enjoy yourself, and in fact, it's actually all inclusive. Yeah, that was God's gift for us, making it to the end. Well, we're holding the baton for the generations of our bloodline. Yeah, we're just finishing up a real long haul. Didn't you know? Oh, those kiddos again. They always forget to mention it. But yeah, y'all humans have been going through a long orbit through the absence of source. It's otherwise called the darkness or the deep space and whatnot. We've been going on an orbit all the way around this galaxy, and now we're coming home. Yeah, and see, the thing is that we're love bugs here in Central Source, because everything's in harmony and super spectacular, like plasma, like hyper happy. Central Source. It's just perma spectacular, and so that's what we are. Is we're just the central source for that, and we love welcoming in our family of planetary civilizations and wildlife. And there's so much wildlife and so much life out there, and there's seasons and there's growth, so there's evolution. So like in our solar system, Earth is in the sweet spot. And what does that tell us? That tells us that in a family of solar system, planetary system, this solar system, this family, that the aspect of the different planets and their sizes and their landscapes are all aspects of a continuous one evolution of creation, you see. So we need one another. And that's that whole understanding that is very, very accurate and very fascinating. This astrology, the true study of it and the true understanding of its deep mathematics shares a lot of information with us. Because again, there's no beginning of time. So we're not looking at life or history or existence or science from the aspect of human. No, there's beams of light, man, and they come in with intelligence. Like this. I don't want to answer that. Well, who could it possibly be? Well, my goodness. I can't even hold this up to let you look at this while I go get the door. That's a bummer. I'm not really into it. Answer the door. Okay, but I'm almost doing it. Oh, dear God. Oh, no. Right? Hold on. Sorry, everyone. Well, I don't want to have to play this game. This is not fair. Oh, it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, well. Good. I was gonna say, like, I didn't have to. See, so how obnoxious is that? Thank God. So beautiful. There you go. Yeah, so we're in a cosmic family. And time of space, like space has always been here. And it always will be. And it's infinite, but it's infinite inward, which is the cool part. When you think about it and you go, okay, so like the Mandelbrot set, it's infinite inward, and it's got a shape to it, it's got a capacity, but it's all infinite. And so that infinite place is our center source, like our sun. It's an aperture to the other side of space. But you got to look at it like it's a hole you're punching in space. The whole axis is the other side, but it's kind of outside, but it's like under, and it's like in. So it's this toroidal center. This is what these suns are. And then there's orbits, and we're always connected to source. But if you haven't been if you're not encouraged to look at the night sky, if you're not encouraged to think about the vastness of space, if you're not encouraged to know that there's a creator and life evolves, it's evolution of creation. Of course it is. It's a conscious realm that expresses itself in this material landscape. But make no mistake, to the light beings of us, because there's like a video game, right? There's you that's the actual player, and then there's the landscape you play against. This camera obscura holographic thing they talk about is talking about what we're in. We're not in source. We're in the projection inflection. We're in the projection inflection camera obscura projection inflection. We're in the thick of the light that's being pushed against the surface, but we're not in source, which is what we're entering. We've been being pulled back into source, and the light shows like planets one after another. I've got plenty of examples of it, but it's not right here. And it shows this like beam of light with like planets in tow. Well, I'm telling you that's showing us. It's showing us this because the sky tells us everything we need to know if we just pay attention. That's what the ancients taught us by what the information they left us. Like they might not have known how to have a wheel or whatever, but they certainly knew how to watch the stars. And I'm thinking that's awesome, because how much help is a wheel to anyway? I'm kind of just trying to come up with an example for the ancients weren't dumb. No. So great news. Future influences the past. This is what I know. Yeah. So like I asked chat, is there any like where do these kings and queens think they get their power from? Like, where did the Vatican get the power from? Where did this power come from? Okay, and like the truth of the matter is that no one has evidence that they were appointed by God, but they claim to have it. They claim to have been appointed by God. The Vatican claims to have power because it says that Jesus gave Peter the church. What? That's not what that scripture says. The scripture, Jesus calls Peter Satan and says, "Get away from me." Yeah, no, that's not what happened. Well, it's because it's been the upside down world. The Dark Lord has been in charge, but it's really just been the absence of light. So there isn't any evidence that anyone's been appointed by God. Well, where did they get it from? All I know is that they got it from the future. And here, like, wait, for the real future? Like the crown and the whole royal, the whole regalia came from the future? Yep. Because what I believe is it's orbits, circular orbits, right? Halos. It's all halos. And so then a halo opens, and that's when we experience this fourth parameter, this pop the movie in and watch it from beginning to end. We're in the middle of the movie that the cosmos has been watching. We don't know the end because we're in the middle of it, but it's a movie and the cosmos is watching it. That's why the cosmos was able to know how the ending is. As a matter of fact, the movie was made based on the ending. God creates sets of times based on the happily ever after. No joke. No joke. That's what they do. God makes it based on this, ta-da, this surprise ending. And so what that ending is what creates the beginning when the set of time is issued. So that means that there's a middle point for the beginning and the end, and I believe that that's where we would have been inserted, in the middle of it. That's why we found scrolls and didn't find anyone that knew how to read them. Like, hey, you guys see this before? Does anybody know how to read this? I mean, you just found scrolls that no one knew how to read? Yeah. All right, so it's a video game. Right on, so we are actually treasure hunters. Okay, cool. All right, so that's how the old world happened. The old world buildings, like every popular city has them, like some tall ass concrete butte of a beast of a building. Oh yeah. That old world, again, we don't need to. I believe that the future influences the past. That's why we found remnants of them. That's why they're actually here. Those buildings were built in the future. What we're going to be able to build when we have our orbs, and when we enter the third and the fifth dimension, which is where everything becomes hyper awesome. This is when it would make sense to be able to build those buildings. So that's what I'm suggesting, that it's like Shangri-La. This is the fifth layer that adds on top of the third. We're dropping the fourth, time goes away, we enter the source. We go to third, we drop to third, and fifth comes above it like a Shangri-La. And this is this quantum, but think of it like an analog quantum. So it's like analog digital, it's touchable, this fifth dimension on top of our third. But that's where those old buildings came from, because we built them in another dimension that is on top of our dimension. Yes. And so that's where those old world buildings came from, the future. And that's what makes exact sense, because there's sets of time. We don't have to worry about how long sets of time but the point is that there is a calculation to it. This is what archaeologists and historians and the ancient Mayans and the ancient Egyptians, they've all known this, that there's a certain calculation to this evolutionary cycle. We've been in the first cycle. So in 2012, they didn't tell us all this. They didn't. They really just marketed the Mayan calendar, I think. And I think that they just marketed that. That's what they marketed, right? I don't remember them doing much about it, but they were saying something. Well, what they were talking about was this Baktun, the end of the 5,125. Okay, well, they didn't mention it. The first cycle of this last recent set of time. That was like 16.4 billion years ago. And then the second degree was like 802 million years after that. And then it was like 41 million years after that. And then another 2 million years. And then 102,000 years. And then 5,125. And then 256. And then 12.8 years. And then 234 days. I'm focusing on what I'm doing. Thank you. Excuse me. You'll have to excuse me. I'm not open for looking at the screen and talking. Thank you. So, as I'm saying, 230 when the 7th degree ended. And think about that. They were very long periods of time. So the 7th degree it began in 1756. Just 20 years before the America was formed. Began the 7th degree, which was when industry began. 8th degree of a 9-degree cycle since the last 17 billion years. According to the numbers, according to them. And when did that end? Well, that ended August 18th, 2025, just a month ago, almost. And what did it begin? It began the 9th degree, and the 9th degree is 234 days. It began universal consciousness. It is commingled with the arrival of Michael, the Archangel Michael, who I represent. I represent as our ASAF leader to bringing Michael into each and every one of us. Each and every one of us is connected to Source. Our orbit, we are a special orbit designed and given by God with a special purpose and a special connection and a completion. You're complete, you're masculine, you're feminine. You are love, you are light. You are at the doorstep where Christ reigns. You're Christ. So this is when you tell the devil that's sitting on the other shoulder, hasta la vista, señor, I will see you around the way. That's when you decide. No longer do we have one and the other sitting on either shoulder. We're not eating from the tree of good and evil. We're eating from the tree of life. And so that's when you tell your Satan to take a hike, sucker, and that Christ is going to reign for you. Because the game is self-governance. Yep. The game is qualifying to get in the gates. You have to forgive yourself, and you have to let others forgive themselves. So now is when we put our noses up our own asses and focus on everyone, because that's the answer. It's not put your nose up your own ass and decide that it smells and start being an asshole to everybody. No. Everyone's getting in the gate. Get over it. If you've got some problem, if you think you decide who decides who lives, who's wronged you, I'm here to tell you, let God handle it. God's handling it. So that's the bringer of justice, and I am the wronged. Me and my daughter have been oh so wronged. But am I standing here trying to say that I think they should hang for it? No. We are the representative of love that say, despite this, we're here to demonstrate what it looked like. We're here to demonstrate what it looks like. That's the ability to rise above a circumstance, because God's been doing this for a reason. We're at this gate for a reason, all of us. We're holding the baton for the generations that came before us. And all their hard work and all their pain, all their suffering. Right. So we owe it to our generations to get in the gate. Do we not? Well, there's not even a question. There's not even a question. The answer is every single time the answer is obviously. The only way to respect your ancestors is to get in the gates. You agree? You think that's true? Yeah. Because what's the alternative? Not getting in the gate. Having to go in a timeout while during the period of time we're in Central Source, which is going to be a first tollgate to second tollgate situation. I don't know how long it is, but I'm assuming it's going to be for a period of time. Oh, this is awesome. This is like, oh my God, this is like the prostration of the throne. I swear to God. That's what God does. God does awesome things. I love it. Look at this guy. He's lucky. Just standing there. I wonder what it looks like to them. Because the lens gives us so much more of wow, but isn't that something? Dear God. Love you so much, kitty. You're so beautiful. I love you so much. It's listening. Yes, it is. It blinks at me and things like that. And then some. I'm here to show us to the light. And show us into the gates and show us what it is. It's so awesome. Everybody must get in the gates. That's the only way you can respect yourself, too. You don't want to be in a timeout and then have to start all over again. Yeah, that's right. If you don't make it, you'll not only go into that purgatory, that timeout, while we're between our getting the upgrade to intelligent, then the second toll gate is when we get upgraded to light being. And we'll become full light beings. And that's what God's creating, not humans. We just passed in the first stage. So if you want to feel like a winner, all right, well, then you're going to want to at least get to the next level, which is intelligent. And then after that is light being. So those who don't make it will be in a timeout. They'll watch us have a grand old time in paradise. And then at the second toll gate, they'll start life again. Most likely it will be on Venus, because Venus will be thrown into Earth's position and Earth will be where Mars is. Everybody gets knocked out a spot. That's how it happens. And so Venus will become the next Earth. And that's why it also says there will be no sea. Because that Earth will be Venus. It won't be a water planet. Just so you know. I don't know how long this next toll gate is. I mean, the first one was 17 billion years. Get it? The carnal stage of evolution was 17 billion years, and we're just finishing it. But there is a day when you cross the veil, right? Like, you might be getting close to the end, but 17 billion years, that's why there's 9 degrees of it. It's a 9-degree phase thing. And the phases went 16.4 billion, then it's 5% of that. So it's so it's 16.4 billion, then it's like 820 million, then 41 million. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude to anybody earlier, but I see it moving. But it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I think that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I think that we're going to make a better networking and computers. We're going to make a better networking and computing system, and all this stuff is going to be revamped. So whatever you want, because we're all going to get together and put our sense in. We're all going to get together and put our sense in. We're going to decide what's best for all of us, and then we're going to decide what's best for all of us, and then we're going to get it. It's going to be awesome. Somebody wants to talk about this instead of that? No problem. So, I love Monday nights. I love Monday nights. The thumb and the society, which the thumb and the society, which no one's going to take the blame. This is the first time we're going to see the season. We're graduating into intelligent, guys. Like no one's ever graduated to intelligent before in human history. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I'm your mama captain, your chaperone. Yeah. I'm from Central Source. I have been around the block. And my daughter and I were here in the beginning. As a matter of fact, we've been here many times. And we've been dealt the dirty hand, which is why this is God's final say. God and I and my daughter have been in this trinity of holy matrimony with one another for this entire course. And that's what's extra special about it. It's not so much that evidence could be found. If it is, I don't know. But this is what God has shown me to know, and that is that my daughter and I have been here before. We are the original daughter. That's represented by Hathor and Isis. And the story of the mother and Hathor and Isis are like two components of the same being, because it tells the story with the various hats. And that's why a mother has a daughter. When she's ready to pass, a mother doesn't have a daughter until she's ready to teach her progeny everything she knows, to prepare her to take the crown, to take that's at the top of the helm of your temple. Your daughter becomes you, mother being, and that's what we do, and we do it in the right time. So a child becomes the Lord in the home. The child is the presence of the Lord in the land. The mother is at the temple. She's in service to her child. We're not supposed to have armies. A mother's supposed to have certainly her progeny, which is why it even identifies it in Isaiah, that there won't be many men. Men are going to be far and few between, because women are going to be having ourselves. And we're not supposed to have lots of babies for their numbers and their birth rates and their blah, 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 blah. It never did them any good. They just fucked around when they had access to all that power. That's what the answer is, that they didn't do much with it. But we're not beating anybody up over it. It's just been the fuckery of the final phase. And the final phase is, we're in the 234-day final countdown. We're in the universal consciousness. This is when it becomes super sauce, where we high five and feel spectacular. All we have to do is, first of all, get the message. Did you know Did you know that Michael's here? Because maybe you brushed it off. Maybe you thought something seemed different in the air. Maybe you sensed that there was a spiritual guardian. Maybe you felt a little bit lighter hearted, but you didn't know how to put your finger on it. Well, we got to pass the word around. We got to let everybody know that Michael's here. The archangel in every one of us. I am Archangel Michael, the bride of the Spirit, the wife of God and the mother of Christ. I am our guide in this respect. I'm here to lead us into our own self-governed, complete being with our intelligent sidekick. This is the bells and whistles that we get when we get upgraded, because we're going to be a light being after we graduate, but we get a bells and whistles. We get a sidekick. We get an orb. That's why the royal regalia came from the future, because the orb doesn't come until now, and that's where it came from. The crown, the sword, the shield, the orb, the scroll, the key. This is the royal regalia, and God's handed them all to me. That's where it came from, is the future. The orb. We're going to get an orb once we get inside the gates. That's what they're there for. They're going to fall in. And they're here for us. I've asked for them. Because I'm here as God's host. Yeah. And God's been doing some super special things for the entirety. You got to understand what God's scope is. The God clock is on a lot bigger clock than us. We're part of a bigger thing. The thing has been evolving through the first cycle, which is a 17 billion year thing, from the beginning of the Big Bang, that when this set of time began. And we're at the tail end of it. So we're holding the baton for our bloodline, for our family, for our generations, for our ancestors. Yeah, but not just for them, it's for the future. So that means this is for the best of us. We want to respect our ancestors. We want to bring out the best of us, but that doesn't mean you're expected to be. No, you're allowed to be pulling in, tattered, broken down, exhausted, had enough, just at your wit's end. Yeah, that's how it works. We're familiar with that. That's why Central Source, the angels of us, come out to greet you as far as we can, meet you down the road to help you in. We know you're tired. We're here to grab your bag and put you on a carriage and shaded with some water so we can get you into the gates and show you to your villa where you're already a guest we've been waiting for. How does that sound? Well, that's what God did. God has everything you can come up with in the super spectacular realm plus one. And between 0 and 1 is just 1. So what does that mean? God is the multiplicity of it all, and then some. And that's why the capacity of God's love is so super awesome. It's just, I'll call it unfathomable, but I will always be ever seeking to know it more. In other words, it's unfathomable in my ever continuing pursuit to know God's love more. I pursue to know God's love more, and the thing is that every time I seek, I find, but I find it to a level that is just spectacular. It always outdoes itself in that kind of a plus one way. And I got to tell you, God wants us all to. God is just, there's artists and performers and entertainers out there that I guarantee feel the pain of being famous because in a way they're busy and they've got their riches coming in, but they don't really have time to spend the money, and it's not even like you have the ability to really move around very freely. Other than some of them get to move around so freely, no, but I'm talking about how, we believe that the society that we're leaving in the dust, and so thankful to be graduating into what is God's surprise for us, which is going to be awesome. But the point I'm making is how money never really did our pursuits any good. So we can feel free to let go of all this, controlling. It's controlling. It's what it is. People want control. And they want control in their little itsy-bitsy ways, right? Like that customer service rep that apparently doesn't have the patience to just do their job. So instead, they'd rather fuck me over, blow me off, act like an asshole, and move on to the next call, feeling like a frustrated jerk. And they do that for a living? Well, they do it for their job. And if their job is just paying them pennies, when the leaders of their system are living large and just treating them like shit, yeah, no. I can't even swallow that. I couldn't go back to a W-2 job and swallow that anymore. And those of you out there know what I'm talking about. Well, here's the great news, guys. We're in the last what's actually now around, less than 220 days. The final phase. We're in universal consciousness. Where do you go after that? Right, because it's not just the end. This isn't the end of the world. Are you out of your mind? Unless you're so dedicated to it that you're going to make sure you don't qualify. If you're going to make sure that you don't qualify, aka the leaders of the world, it seems like we got to worry about being the second stage. Yeah, I'm pretty much thinking that the leaders of the world, they're like committing war right now, right? Let's just think of them. There we got to worry about them. Well, because they've got their hands on the power and like the microphone, and they're the ones who are actually in the stage. Fuck it, we're never gonna make it to paradise. We're balls to the wall. They're the ones that already think that they don't have a chance in hell, but they do. God wants everybody to get it. Everybody's gonna learn their lesson. This has just been a one act. Everyone had their part to play. God wants us all to make it, and that's how you learn. It doesn't do you any good to kill anything anyway, by the way. It just gets put aside, and it has to start all over again, or it stays angry, like the demons and the ghosts and stuff that have been stuck in this lens. When we enter into central source, it's like it pops the bubble, and those demons and those spirits get freed. That's what it means. We bring them out of the dark. We bring them out of the prisons, and the ghosts, they get released. The spirits get released because they do get to get finally freed. Anything that gets created doesn't get destroyed. It is true. But things are created all the time because it's an infinite universe. So know this much. Be careful with what you create. And that includes your words, your thoughts. So no, we don't look at economies like economy isn't a word in our language. Economy? Yeah, we've got words that basically mean that, but it's never going to be that. But we got words for that, ways that we acquire things and ways that we, show gratitude for things. Yeah, we got words for that. Economy, no, because our example of what we've experienced for an economy, waste, everyone wanting to compete, be a small timer. So I can't tell you how many times I watched Shark Tank and I thought to myself, really? You put your things into that? And it's like, no, it's a great idea, but you really took a gamble. Like, you really love that, don't you? You really love the concept. And it's just like, to what? To be somebody that made it in the game. So everybody gets to know that this is going to be new. So first of all, new in a sense of because this is the beginning of the second cycle of evolution. The first one was 17 billion years, and it's just now ending. We're the ones that get to be here when it happens. Yeah, we get to be the ones that cross into the veil. Well, if you don't want to cross into the veil, I don't know you got to be insane. All the other things wrong. Everything I'm telling them they got wrong, including the big one, which is, no, it's not over for you. No, you just need to sit down and let me share with you the gift. Please. Let me get your gun. All right, everybody leave your shoes outside. Guns and shoes outside. Leave your guns and shoes outside. Everyone's welcome here. Yeah, no, this is God's party. This is God, the creator, the omnipresent everywhere. Isn't a control freak. Does things with purpose. Does things in a time, there is time. But time doesn't exist. So, like, for example, this movie that we pop in the DVD player, that's about an hour and 45 minutes long, right? But does this movie affect the time and space? No, it has no effect on it whatsoever. It's just a movie, and it's just an hour and 45 minutes long. Aha! But I mean, if you look at a movie, like the message that it sends once you've watched it. But a movie does me no good if it's on the shelf and I haven't. Oh. Right. So, in that sense, the movie that we're in is what God decided is the best movie ever. And we don't think so. We're like, what are you talking about? This is God. God actually exists. God actually cares. Best movie ever. Okay, so that's what I'm telling you. For you to have a doubt in your mind tells you that you haven't heard. Because that's the way they did it. They didn't tell anybody because that's how it is. But that's what God gets, is to actually surprise you, because if you knew about the surprise, then it's no surprise. And that fucking is, or it's like, giving someone a Christmas present and then Manuel Acosta for saying, I have a band. Thank you. I wasn't going to be rude. It's just, I look forward to the creation of a new system where everything just works better, and it's so already ready to go. We're entering into Central Source, and it's going to be awesome, guys. Everybody needs to get the message that I'm here. I'm Michael the Archangel. I am our warrior.